Determine whether the function f of x equals 4 to the power of negative x minus 4 to the power of x is even, odd, or neither. Well, before we go ahead, let's just do a quick review of what an even and an odd function is. So an even function, and even function is a function where f of negative x equals f of x. That means if we substitute negative x in whenever we see x in this equation and simplify, if it equals the original equation, then this function is even. What about an odd function? Well, an odd function has the property that f of negative x equals negative f of x. This means that if we substitute, whenever we see x, if we substitute that for negative x in this equation, and then that equals this whole equation except with a negative sign out the front, and this in brackets, in other words, negative f of x, then this function is odd. Okay, well the best way to go about determining whether this function is even or odd or neither is simply to evaluate and simplify f of negative x. Well, let's do that. So whenever we see an x here, we're going to replace that with a negative x. So we're going to have 4 to the power of negative, and then we're going to replace this x with negative x, minus 4 to the power of, we've got an x here, so we're going to say negative x. Okay, well let's simplify this. So we've got 4 to the power of negative, this is essentially negative 1 multiplied by negative x. Well, a negative multiplied by a negative is a positive, so this is going to equal 4 to the power of x, minus 4 to the power of minus x. Now, interestingly, this is not the same as this expression. This expression does not equal this expression. Here we have you have a positive 4 to the power of x, whereas here we have positive 4 to the power of negative x. And then we've got negative 4 to the power of negative x, whereas we've got negative 4 to the power of x. So we know that f of negative x does not equal f of x. Consequently, the function is not even. Let's consider whether it's odd, though. So to consider whether it's odd, let's examine the expression f negative f of x. Let's see what we get if we evaluate negative f of x. Well, negative f of x is, we simply multiply this entire expression by negative 1. So we can put a negative sign here, and then put this expression in brackets or in parentheses. So we've got 4 to the power of negative x minus 4 to the power of x. Well, again, we can simplify this by multiplying each of these components by negative 1. So negative 1 times 4 to the negative x, so that's negative 4 to the negative x. Here we've got minus 1 multiplied by negative 4 to the power of x. So a negative multiplied by a negative is a positive, so this will be plus 4 to the power of x. What's interesting here is that this expression is the same as this expression. And let's just rearrange these terms to make it quite clear. So what we can do is we can put this 4 to the x at the beginning, and we can put this negative 4 to the negative x at the end, and because we're just adding these two terms, it will be exactly the same. So we could write this same expression as 4 to the x minus 4 to the negative x. All we've done is exchange these two terms, rearrange them. So this expression is exactly the same as this expression. We've got positive 4 to the power of positive x minus 4 to the power of negative x, which is the same as we've got here. In other words, what we can say is that f of negative x equals, so this is f of negative x, this equals negative f of x. Because these two expressions are the same. Well, according to our definitions at the beginning, that whenever we have this expression, f of negative x equals negative f of x, then that function is odd. Consequently, we've determined that the function f of x equals 4 to the power of negative x minus 4 to the power of x is an odd function. So this function is odd.